All right, number 5, we have the parent graph, the absolute value of x, and let's go ahead and start by rewriting our function so that we can actually graph it using transformations. You're going to have to factor out that 2 off of the x. It's going to come out of the 6 as well. Just do a double check. You get 2x plus 6. That's good. And then the minus 4 on the outside is going to go down 4, and then the plus 3 on the inside is going to go to the left 3. That 2 is going to take your x's and divide them in half, and the 1/2 in front is going to take all your y's and also divide those in half. And there's no reflections, which is good, less to think about. Okay, so we have our original table goes from -2 to 2, and then when you absolute value all those numbers, that's what you get. And then we're going to take our x's and half them, and also our y's and half them as well. And so -2 divided by 2 is -1, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. -1 divided by 2 is -1/2. 1 divided by 2 is half. Zero's half is still 0. And then that's going to be a half. That's going to be 1. Half that, you get a half. And half that, you get a 1. Okay, and let's just go ahead and quickly graph that. We're moving left 3 and down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I don't really think we need to put in our imaginary XY axis, but I'll put it in anyway quickly. And then we already have our 0, 0 done, so let's go ahead and do a half, a half. It's a little off, but just pretend it's a half, half, and then 1, 1. And then -1/2, a half, -1/2, a half, and then -1, 1. And again, you're really not supposed to be, you're really not supposed to be having to look at a tape. All right, I'm getting pretty tired here or something. You're not supposed to have to look at a table to graph these. You're supposed to do it in your head, and this is just a good visual so you can see the process while I'm doing it. Okay, number 6. There's nothing to factor down below here, so we'll just start by looking at our shifting. We have a downward shift of 2, and we have a left shift of 3, and we are multiplying our y values by 2, because that 2 is on the outside of the function. It's not under the fraction bar next to the x, so it's going to affect your y values. And the parent function, which is the reciprocal function 1/x, goes starts at -2. So we have -2 and down a half, and then -1, -1, and -1/2, and down 2. And then there's no 0, 0, because 0 is undefined in the denominator. And then we have over a half up 2, and then 1, 1, and then over 2 up a half. But the only ordered pairs that I am requiring you to graph is just the whole numbers to get a super quick sketch. Now, if you want to be impressive and you want to go ahead and do all those extra ordered pairs and you can mental math them quick, that's fine, but you do not have to. Now, our y values are going to be doubled. So our x values stay the same and our y values are doubled. And my x values that I'm requiring you to plot are -1 and 1 only. And so when I double both of the corresponding y values, I get -2 and 2. So we're doubling just these two y values right here down below. All right, let's go ahead and move the origin. Even though you don't technically have an ordered pair right there, we still need to find it. So we're going left 3 and down 2. That's not an ordered pair right there. That's just my little marker. So I can draw on my pretend XY axis. If there is any graph that I highly recommend you drawing in a really, really light XY axis, a pretend one would be this guy right here, because it's hard to keep the reciprocal function in its right boundaries in the correct location if you don't draw those boundaries in. Okay, so all I need to do is, I usually like to start on the right side. Oops, but I did forget to notice there's a negative right there. So that is going to be a reflection or a flip over the x-axis. So we're going to reflect our y values over the x-axis. And instead of going over 1 up 2, I'm going to go over 1 down 2. I usually don't show the flip over here in the table, but it's going to make that a negative 2. And then you can just go ahead and draw in the rest of your graph. That's a really bad graph right there, as most of mine are with the sketch pad, but hopefully you can do a better job with the pencil. And then I'm going to do the other side of the graph next. And instead of going back 1 and down 2, we're reflecting over the x-axis. And instead of going down, we're going to go up. So back 1 and then up 2. And then I'll go ahead and draw in my curve, keeping them in its boundaries. And that one looks a little bit better.